2 in a row. We're back again.
Together?
Yeah.
Mom Life Podcast. Before we jump into today's topic, which we'll save, have you ever, for those of you that maybe have never worked out before, and have you ever, well, we know that you feel a certain way if you've never stepped foot into a gym before. Scared. What does everybody think of me? Will I be able to keep up? What are some other things that somebody that never...
Am I in good enough shape to actually go to the gym?
Yeah. Am I good enough to start? Who's in there? What kind of crazy shit are they doing when they're in there? Am I going to look stupid?
Yeah, I haven't worked out in 20 years. I've never worked out.
All these things that maybe you've thought about, and that's why we're bringing this up, is because we're going to start a group that is specifically for you. On Tuesdays and Thursdays, we're going to have time available for beginners only. We're looking for groups of 3, maybe 4 people to get started, and you'll start with only people who are in the exact same situation as you are, so hopefully that can maybe take away some of those fears and give you a little bit of comfort to open the door, or reach out to us to find out more about what that looks like, and how to join that group. And we've done this a lot in the past, and it's really fun to see. A lot of those groups are still together. Those people are still gym buddies and still work out together years later. So if you think maybe you would like to try to find people to go through this process of growing through your fitness journey and doing it with somebody else that's at the same spot as you, this would be a perfect time to reach out. So, any other thoughts on the beginners group that we're starting in September?
Just remember that everyone starts out as a beginner somewhere, and so like we talked about last week, now is as good a time as any. And like Jeff said, you can reach out to any of us. You can send a message to the Pulse Training page. You can, if you're friends with us, and on Facebook, you can connect right through that. Or if you happen to have my phone number and you've thought about texting me before, but you're a little nervous, this would be a great time to do it, and we can walk you through the next steps. They're really easy.
And at the same time, we're also this fall going to kick off our fall foundations, which Josh will tell us a little bit about.
Yeah, really exciting. So Tuesday, September 8th, we're going to start a 12-week program. This is a small group cohort style group where Jeff's going to be working on the mindset aspect of things. I'll be working on nutrition with the group, and then all of our coaches here in the gym will be, depending on what the workout time works best for your schedule, you'll have interaction with our other coaches in the gym. So it'll be 12 weeks where we start with those foundational items, and this would be great for those beginners getting started, to start with the right mental aspect and starting with those nutrition foundations. But really, anybody, current gym members or anybody who is wanting to take that next step, this is a great 12-week opportunity to really start to dig in. So we got open enrollment now, but the program's going to start on Tuesday the 8th.
Perfect time. Right after schools, everybody should be settled in right after Labor Day.
Yeah.
And lead you right into the holidays.
Yep, that was the other thing I was going to mention, is it finishes up Thanksgiving week. So those 12 weeks will be perfect timing just to set you up with the best chance of success to head into that crazy holiday season. Don't wait till January 1st. Get this foundation built now and be ready to attack that holiday season with success.
Yep, and we have one more event that's coming up. If you're just not maybe ready for the full commitment to come into the gym and work out or do a program, we're going to do an open house style event on Saturday, September 12th. Tara, one of our coaches here, and myself are hosting our first Mom Life meetup. It was supposed to be at the end of August, but Mom Life got in the way and we had to reschedule it. But it's an opportunity to come in, and Josh is going to be helping with some awesome recipes and delicious food as always. But it's an opportunity to look at what a full day of nutrition could look like for you. And the best part about it is that we're going to try to make it easy. It's not a lot of work. You're going to try out recipes. You're going to be able to plug and play with the things that you like. So hopefully you can walk out of here with an idea of how to put together a balanced day of nutrition, and maybe that's your first step. But either way, we've got you covered. Whatever step you're ready for, come on in.
Yeah.
We've got options.
So very exciting time of year because
Yeah.
summer has come to an end. As much as I love it, I love summer. Boy, it's nice to get back to where people are ready to be focused again. Summer's just a tough time to start anything. So we're ready for you.
Yes.
So now on to our topic of today. This is Josh and I had a nice long talk about this yesterday.
I got cornered in his truck and got the
Yeah.
got the why not.
Yeah. He had no escape on our way to Castlewood yesterday.
So why not?
He got stuck just getting drilled, hammered.
No, but it was good. We dug deep into some things that were going on, and we found out that came up with this topic because we're all dealing with stress.
Stress, the root of all evil.
I don't know if it's the root of all evil, but
It's pretty
I can
damn close.
It is, but it's the root. It's the root behind every other problem that we think
Yeah.
we have.
Yeah.
It's the problem behind every story we tell ourselves. It can all be traced back to some other stressor in our life when we think it's what it is because it's what it looks like, but really, it's the stress. It's a
Underneath-
symptom.
Yeah, something under the covers
yeah, it's
that
something-
you're not thinking about.
Or not wanting to think about, or just flat out ignoring because you hope it goes away.
Yeah. And this came up because we were talking about a few different individual members here that were having a struggle with something, and I don't think they had any idea what the actual struggle was. We won't use any names, but you had somebody reach out or said that they were all of a sudden they were snacking too much, and they just thought it was a snacking problem. Like, well, all of a sudden I'm snacking so much, opposed to really thinking about it. Snacking just so happened to kick in relatively close to the same time that there was something stressful going on at work. And what happened when you brought that up? The light bulb go off.
Flash.
Ding! Holy shit! Maybe that is why I'm stressed at work. So as soon as I come home, the snack makes me feel better for 30 seconds, if that, and then it just generates more stress.
Yeah.
Now you have the stress plus the stress that you feel from the stress of having the snack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're stressed.
So the overall message really, and this is a hard thing to practice, but if you can dial this part in, you can figure out anything and understand. And it goes back to this stupid question that I like to ask. Tina, do you know what that question is?
I mean, I
haven't talked about it,
I
but-
don't know exactly what the question would be, but
It's 3 letters.
oh, why?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were like, I thought it was longer.
No.
Thanks. I was gonna say like asking yourself, why is this happening? What do I need
Yeah.
right now? So I agree with you. Getting to the root of it starts with questions, but I think you made a very important point. Not everyone is ready to ask themselves those questions, and getting to that part of it, that's the hard part. Like, you'll know you're stressed out. You'll know that something isn't right, and you can even identify that what isn't right. But it's a skill to get to drill down into those questions, and then not being satisfied with the first why, the second why, the third why, the fourth why.
I mean, we can just go like a normal response is, say somebody's been eating out a lot. Then the response is, I need to stop eating out. That's the only solution they come up with is, I need to stop doing this. Well, yeah, sure. If it was that simple, we would have done it, opposed to asking the question, why am I eating out so much? What is causing this? Why is it so hard to eat at home? Where's the barrier in this? And it can be many different things. Like right now, it might be work and then kids in school and the hustle of all of those things has made it very challenging. And then the thought of going home and making a meal,
especially if at the beginning of all that, before you get into all the whys, is, well, I didn't grocery shop. Well, why didn't you grocery shop?
Yeah.
Because we didn't have time. Well, why didn't you have time? Well, because we had all these activities. Well, did you plan around it? Like, it really kind of drills down to like this whole planning. And I know you probably get tired of hearing me talk about it specifically, because I always talk about what really helps with some stresses. Planning.
Yep.
What really helps with some stresses? Moving. What don't we have time to do? Plan or move.
Yeah.
Because we're planning and we're moving someone else somewhere else, but not ourselves. And so that's why I get it. Like you said, this is really, it can feel really complicated and overwhelming. And just from a mom's perspective, there's a lot of times when a mom feels overwhelmed or stressed, she can check out on herself like that.
Oh yeah.
She will check out on herself like that. You might see her and be like, she's got it all together. Look at that. She's got it all together. But inside, it's like, oh, I do not. But we feel like, okay, but it's expected of me to keep going. And so it is very, it can get very complicated. And even thinking about it, talking about it, even hearing us talk about it might even feel overwhelming. Like, I don't know what to do next.
Yeah. I mean, have you ever been in the middle of doing something that you're like, how did I even get to where I am right now? Like, how did this drink, or how did I end up in this line at a fast food place? Like, asking that question is just so important, because you can figure it out. Like, I'm here because I'm annoyed that, about whatever. It could be anything, but at least you can nail it down, so when it happens again, you're prepared to say, because I'm stressed about this, I'm not going to do what I did last time. I'm not going to drink a soda. I'm not going to have an alcoholic drink because I'm stressed today. Versus, like, again, drink, all of a sudden you end up in the fridge and you crack something open and it's like, where did this thing even come from? It just jumped in my hand and it opened itself. I didn't even want this. But you end up there.
Yeah, and I've ended up there before when I don't ask the questions, when I skip that step. Because another little tidbit that I'll just throw myself under the bus personally, like, before I can ask questions when it's a really stressful situation, as my son Ethan calls it, I'm going to crash out a little bit. Like, I'm going to, like, lose it a little bit. I'm not going to, and for me, it's not going to be in person. You're not going to see that part of it. That happens for me. That's a private time where I'm like, what the is happening right now? Like, and then can I get to the question of what do I need? Or do I go straight to the things that you just said about? Because I have 2 stress responses. And I've known this about myself for a long time, but even more so recently because of what I do and because of the work I've done for myself. What do I need? I know what I need. For me, it's movement. Movement is a stress response that helps me deal with it, right? And that's really what we're getting down to. How are you dealing with the stress when it gets thrown at you? What are you doing next? Or, for me, it could be food. Those are my top 2 stress responses. So I better make damn sure that I'm ready, that the movement one is the one that pops into my head first. Because if I'm not asking the questions like, how did I end up here? Why is this happening? And what do I need right now? Because it's never food. It's never a drink. It's usually never those things, because like we talked about when we started, those are the things that people that would create another amount of stress. So now I'm stressed about whatever the event was. Then I've made choices that I'm not happy with and that aren't in alignment with what I need right now. Now I'm dealing with 2 stresses. 3 weeks later, if I'm still not properly asking the right questions, like, why is this happening? What do I need? Now I've got a story, right? So now I have all of this information in my head. None of it has anything to do with taking action, and it has everything to do with me saying, well, the reason this is happening is because of this, this, and this. But I'm not ever addressing why. I just keep compounding the story. And so, for example, like, if you're still stressed out about something that happened like months or years ago, how much of it is a story and how much of it is stress, right?
Becoming a victim
Yeah.
of the story.
Of the story, exactly. So again, I just love examples. I'll throw myself under the bus again. 15 years ago, before I came into Pulse, I was a victim of a story. My kids were stressed. I had little kids. They were stressing me out. That's true, because guess what? Stress happens all the time. You guys are parents. You know that, right? Like, sometimes your kids stress you out. Do they stress you out 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year?
No.
No.
They don't. But because of the story I was telling myself about why I was just a mom or wasn't good enough to do something or that I couldn't lose weight, that story, I just kept feeding that story. I never fed any action steps, which was, why is this actually happening? And that's a tough question, and it's tough love too.
Yeah, it's going to have to be tough
Yeah,
love.
for
If
sure.
you're not willing to take some tough love, then you're you're stuck.
Especially for me when self-care was private binging. I was just compounding the problem and making the story worse. I never was ready to get to the part to say, like you said, why is this happening? What do you need? Checking in with yourself on what actually is going to move you forward versus just keep feeding the story, making it longer, adding another sentence to the paragraph about why I couldn't do that. So I just feel like it's the story can take over very quickly.
Yeah, and we were talking about that yesterday, and then those stories become habits.
Yep. Even if the stressor, you get in this habit of you're stressed at work because of a coworker or whatever, and then you go home and you eat this snack or whatever all the time. Well, then that coworker leaves or the problem gets resolved, but now you're stuck with this habit of I go home and eat. And then now it's not necessarily a stress thing, but it's just a poor habit that's just built. And Josh, do you have any specific ways that you identify or work through this, or
So a couple of things.
handle stress?
I have a client that I we just dealt with this a couple of days ago. She came home from a stressful, crazy day at work, and we've been working together for a while. We've been building these tools of how to deal with some of these things. She comes home, gets into the cookies, realizes after a couple of cookies what's happening, which we talked about. That was a win.
That's a win.
For
that's huge.
recognizing it, okay? But she recognized it, put the cookies away, but we hadn't yet gotten to the part, okay, what's next? So that's what we just recently talked about. Okay, we've identified that this was the issue. We walked it back to what the stressor that caused that. Now, what do we do to get to that root of the stressor to hopefully reduce that? Or when it does happen, how do we handle it in a positive manner? So we decided, we came up with 3 solutions to, the stressor may happen. It just may happen out of her control. So sitting down, taking 15 minutes to meditate, because she thought that she finds time to let everything calm, listen. Movement was the second one. And then she also, one of our checklist items that we want to work towards is sitting down and giving time to read. So, her thought was, I was hungry, I just was making a bad choice. My thought was, are you really hungry in the first place? So if we take 15 minutes, we go either get some movement, take some time for thought, have a glass of water while you're doing it, and then 15 minutes later, after things have calmed down, if you're still hungry, then we go get make a better choice. So that's how we worked through that.
Which is perfect.
Yeah, and for everybody, what you just went through, that's going to look different on everyone.
Yep.
And that's the cool part, is getting to build that awareness around yourself. And like you said, catching yourself in those moments. Like you said, have you ever caught yourself there? It's like catching yourself there almost feels like you're getting in trouble. You're like, damn it, why are you here again? We've been through this. The conversations in our heads are real. We are saying to ourselves, hey, listen, I thought we nipped this in the bud. Mm-hmm. And you made another good point there. The stress is inevitable, or something along those lines. we're not sitting here trying to tell you that you should eliminate all the stress in your life and just follow these 3 steps. We're saying thinking of ways to help you deal with it better, because whether the stress feels really big or really small today, you still have to deal with it, right? And so what's the response going to be? And that response right there, if she gives herself the opportunity to stop and pause and not crash out, that's me. If you can stop and pause, that's the golden opportunity to check in. I realize that I'm not going to sit here and pretend that every time I have a stress, I'm like, oh, Tina, what do you need? Do you need a bath? Or whatever. I get that. But what I'm saying is if I do give myself first I have to practice this skill, but if I do give myself the opportunity to pause, I have a better chance at a better reaction, and then the next step is better.
Yeah, and I mean, we're not going to catch it every time. I'm not going to catch everyone. I'm going to do things that I didn't necessarily want to do. But man, if I can knock it down by 75%,
that's huge.
That's huge.
That's huge. And if you start out and you feel like you've only even knocked it down
10%,
it
doesn't even matter.
Yeah, you're just that's where we always talk about forward and progress. That's the goal, is to make it feel better so that you feel better.
Yeah.
Not to say, oh, life is perfect, I never have any stress. Well, you're not real. Then
Just kidding.
There's Jeff. Well, Jeff, stress.
We've
have
learned
we seen him stressed?
a couple of times, and we've learned that even when he doesn't show it externally, there is still stress.
Yeah.
He just processes it differently. He doesn't.
I can't rip my hair out.
Yeah.
Gosh, I don't have.
Well, I don't have much to rip out either. But
I think what helps me the most is, one, I'm fortunate. I can think back, really, think back in college and stuff. And when stress hit, my initial reaction is go move. Anything, sometimes something's bad happened. My first gut is to go outside, go move, go run, go and be by yourself. So that's, where I think it helps me the most is the fact that I have so much movement built into my life. I have my workouts here, which those are good for stress relief. My running and things I do solo are better for my preparation. It's relieving stress, but at the same time I get to do thinking. When I'm doing weights and that stuff, I don't think about my thoughts, but when I'm out running or walking or biking, those are where I have my moments of real clarity of I get my shit together pretty well.
And I think this is an example.
Moments.
I think this is an example most people can relate to, because if there's sayings all over, if you scroll Facebook or Instagram, I didn't feel like working out, I did it anyway, and now I feel better. It's just a perfect example. I know there's a scientific reason why our bodies feel different when we change, like you said, changing your environment. Immediately you wanted to go outside, then moving, and now you're thinking differently. There is a reason that it happens, and I can't explain it, but I can sure attest to that it's real. And
I just wish I wouldn't have taken till my late 30s to figure it out.
Yes, and again, that is, even if somebody had said to me 30-year-old Tina, hey, when you're stressed, you're gonna want to go for a run or a walk, I'd be yeah, right. I don't think so. I think I'm gonna go to the drive-thru, and that's why I said I know what my top 2 responses are, and so I have to make sure I'm ready for the movement one, because the other one just stresses me out even more.
Yeah, and like I said, so just having that built in, knowing that Tuesday and Thursday is going to be some kind of cardio for me. It's just built in. I automatically get to practice. Even if it was it's unintentional sometimes, but once I get moving, it's all the thoughts start just going through my head and brings clarity, and I get to do it 2-3 times a week because it's built in. And so the more we build in, that's, we're big on exercise, but the outdoor stuff is way more about the mental clarity than it is about the physical. At least for me.
Yeah, for sure.
I push. Everything on the inside of the gym, I would say, is much more physical. Sure, it's going to give you some stress relief, but it's not mentally stimulating as far as going through your thoughts, processing, that kind of thing.
And sometimes when you're moving, even if you are in the gym, I would prefer to be outside as well, just for the stress relief part of it. But when I'm in the gym, it's very hard to think about your problems when you're focused on like the movement.
Yeah.
And then here too, being in like a small group, and now there's like other things like the environment change, and then the movement part where your internal mind changes. Like it's true. So if you're one of those people, like I get it. Like sometimes when you're in the middle of a stress response, you're like, the last thing I want to do is go to the gym. The last thing I want to do is go for a walk or ride my bike or do yoga, or I don't even want to go breathe because I just want to scream. Scream first.
Yeah.
Go ahead and let it out. But give yourself like 5 minutes of whatever you had maybe planned to do. And I would almost guarantee you that 9 times out of 10, you're going to say, yep, this is what I needed. You're not going to walk out of it and be like, it was completely a waste of time to change my environment and change my mindset by just doing something, coming up with some simple stress responses.
So stress, as you can probably tell, we could probably talk about this, or I'll take out probably. We could talk about this for a long time. So if you're out there in stress and you just don't know how to handle it, that's a lot of what we do, is help people, navigate these waters and learn the skills and the tools to learn how to handle this stuff yourself, so that way you know what you're doing and stay in the rails. So let us know if you need help with stress relief.